Welcome to Abstract Essay, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest, President and CEO of Frontline Source Group, no other than Mr. Bill Kasko.
Daniel, great to see you.
Welcome, Mr. Bill. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
No, absolutely. I appreciate it very much. So, I am the president and CEO of Frontline Source Group. So, we are an executive search and staffing agency headquartered in Dallas, Texas. Been around for our 21st year in the professional staffing and specialty niche area of putting top talent, connecting them with great companies throughout the country.
Top talent. I like that, Mr. Bill. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today, let's talk about the 5 year warranty revolution, how Frontline Source Group redefined the risk and trust in the talent industry. What inspired Frontline Source Group to introduce a 5 year warranty in an industry where guarantees are usually short term?
It was interesting. It was a kind of a wild story how it started. Our daughter, we were buying her first car, and I was at the car dealership with her, and we were signing all the papers. And the finance person said, "Well, you get a 5 year warranty with your vehicle." And our daughter looked at me and said, kind of like what you guys do, Dad. And I started laughing, and I said, "Yeah, no, why would we ever do that? Absolutely not. We would never do something like that." And that's really where it started. It started with this one little thought that made us go, "Well, why wouldn't we?" And then we took the management group and we got together and we came up with a way that was completely the opposite of what everyone else was and still does in the industry. And so we figured out how to make it work. And that was the interesting part, that was really something that no one else had been able to do. But not only that, it really became kind of the root of the organization in our 21st year right now, that we're not the same as everybody else, that we figure out how to do things different. And it was really that kind of aha moment where we realized others had tried to do things that were different. And it was much easier for them just to say, we're going to do a 90-day thing or whatever it may be. But reality is that when you're hiring and when companies go to hire, they just it's too difficult in 90 days to really find out if it's a good fit. But what the interesting part of the whole story is that this wasn't about us failing. It ended up becoming something that we were able to go back to because our people, and we still, in fact, every quarter we update the stats on our website. Our people get promoted in the first year. And so we originally came up with the idea to promote the fact that instead of people leaving and having failure, we would instead promote the fact that our success rate was greater than others. And that was again another one of those moments when we realized, take it and turn it into the positive, stop being on the negative piece of things, and really look at it from the positive side. And it's unbelievable how over the last 21 years, this positive feeling and positive looking at things has come up over and over and over and over again. It's really been a very interesting just event for us to go through and exercise to learn about. There's so many more positive things to talk about in companies, not the negatives.
Interesting indeed. And tell us, what kind of resistance of skepticism did you encounter when first proposing the idea of a 5 year warranty?
Well, I mean, the companies weren't looking at it long term, and so what they looked at was short term, and they didn't think about the big picture. And so we were able to, number one, bring stats and information to the table to be able to say, for example, the average tenure in an individual, an employee hired in the United States, when you're in that kind of mid range, is anywhere from 1.8 to 2.9 years. So the odds of having something happen or a person, let's say, leave, were greater than the reality of a failure within the first 90 days, which was the standard in the industry. So we were able to show that the stats were already there, that it wasn't just the fact that most likely people would leave within 2 to 3 years, which still happens. But we were able to also flip it around to say, we're going to give you this same warranty. We don't call it a guarantee because you really can't guarantee anything. But we were going to give them something because our people that we place with companies are great individuals and they get promoted. So we were able to offer something in a positive manner to say, we've already filled this one time for you. We know our people are going to do wonderful. The odds are. And so, because of that, you're going to need to fill that same position again. So, when you promote our person, we're going to come in behind that and give you a discount on that next position because it's going to be the exact same that we did before. And companies at first thought, well, I don't know about that. And we said, okay, well, then we won't do that. Here's what we'll do. And then what was interesting is that when COVID hit, and companies let go of so many people, they came back to us after when we all started back in 2022. Really, they came back and were like, "Hey, how about that warranty on these people?" And although it really wasn't something that we would have done because they were layoffs, in the right manner to do the right thing, we honored that and we went ahead and did the warranty placements, and that's really when it caught on. I think that the more people heard about it, the more they were interested to understand it. It was so different. I will say though that when we first launched it, especially on LinkedIn, the number of hate emails and the hate comments that we got from people within the industry telling us, "Are you crazy? You can't do that. That's ridiculous." That was probably the moment that we knew we were onto something because when people start, casting stones, you may have something. And so we would just kind of agree with them and say, "You're right. We don't know what we're doing. It's horrible." But the whole problem is they just couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out how to make it work right. They couldn't figure out really the secret recipe behind it. And so over the last really 15 years that we've had it, we've been perfecting it. And so we perfect it, tweak it, we learn from it, and we get better at it to give our clients options. And that's really, when you think about it, what we were trying to do at the end of the day.
Mr. Bill, redefining risk and trust, in what ways has this warranty changed the conversation around trust between agencies, employers, and talent?
Well, it's interesting because when you think about that, and you're in a sales position as recruiters, we live in a really gray world, and so our client is the employer. But when they hire a person from us, that person kind of moves over and becomes a client. And so it's very important to us that ethically we maintain the right path and we do what's right in the best interest of all parties. So the factor was that it's not a selling thing because we're not pitching and selling. Instead, we're giving options. We're laying it out. We don't really care, to be honest. And that's what came out of it was that to us, we were able to bring options to the table and to lay it out and to say, here they are. We don't care which one you do. Pick what's going to work best for you, but evaluate what's going to work best in your company. And so a lot of times companies have a lot of turnover. They see every 60, 90 days the people we get that. We get when someone calls us and they say, "Oh, we've been trying to fill this position 3 times and nobody makes it more than, a couple months." Well, part of that is taking the time to understand something in your process isn't right. So instead of just trying to push bodies. Instead, we want to evaluate, we want to take a look at it, we want to understand what are you doing, how are the people, uh, what is your process? I mean, how are you interviewing? Who's involved? What are you asking? We need to really understand that process so we can help them be successful. We don't like to fail. Well, I always like to say, we don't show up to a gunfight with a knife. And so if we're not going to win, we do not want to take it on. And if the client, the employer, if their process is one where they're not going to have a thorough interview, they don't have a thorough job description, they're not going to invest the time like we are up front to learn, to understand, to ask those questions, we're not going to do it. We're not there to fail. We're only there to win.
Definitely, we will win for sure. And how does this 5-year warranty reduce risk for both clients and candidates?
Well, for the client in particular, it gives them an extra piece that's longer than just 90 days. It gives them that ability that this, let's say they hire this person and they're there for a year, and there's a position they can move into a manager role, let's say. So they move into the manager role. Now they can come back and replace that individual. They come back to us and go, hey, Susie did a great job. We're promoting her. We need to fill her same position. So instead of paying us that full fee, we've got a pre-negotiated amount that they're going to now be paying instead. And so because of that, it really is a win long term for them. For the individual candidate that goes to work for a company, that's telling them that our commitment and that relationship with our client is long term. So it's not something that we place a person with a company and then we're gone. You're never going to hear from us again. That's probably the least thing you'll ever hear when it comes to feedback from people, because we're on ongoing communication through all different types of verticals, and communicate by phone, by email, by text, whatever it may be, to make sure that we're checking in, we're there, we're not making a quick buck and we're gone. To us, it's the long term effect. How do we make a difference on that individual that we place, on their family? How can we add value to them? We want that relationship. Now, some people don't, and we respect that and understand it, but we're not there to do anything except to help, to be that buffer. Because unfortunately, as I said, the stats speak for themselves, especially after COVID. The movement and the shortage of that skilled workforce today, that higher level skilled individual that we work with, it's pretty great. Just the other day or just this weekend, the government announced the changing of the H-1B visa, that there's now going to be a fee of $100,000 per applicant coming into the country. That's going to have an effect. That's going to have an effect on the IT side of things in particular, and we're going to see where we already have a shortage of those skilled individuals. It's going to be even greater. So having those long-term relationships with our clients, along with those candidates and people that we place, it's vital. And so we place people one at a time. It's what we always like to tell individuals, that we don't place them 50 and 100 at a time. We place them one at a time and build those relationships that are built over time, one after another after another.
Operational and strategic impact. What kind of systems, processes, or cultural shift had to be implemented internally to support such a long term guarantee?
Well, it's really just our CRM system and our proprietary way of tracking and monitoring. And so, and even today, utilizing the new AI technology is helping us be even more efficient. We've come a long way in 21 years of using note cards. Now, a lot of it is automated, a lot of it is set up in a way to remind us to do things. And then again, that omni channel marketing and the way that we communicate on a regular basis through automation and the advancements and the amount that we have invested allows us to, we hope, be, only have maybe 1% that slip through the cracks. And I really see it as something in the future. our process has really been built around ensuring that we evaluate and we look at it every 3 to 6 months, uh, on a regular basis to make sure that we're not missing something. And in fact, with the changes within AI, I'm seeing that happen even more frequent. We're having less failure. I think we have more failure of process today because of items that are almost legacy type of technology. And as we advance further down the road, I think it'll only get better.
Yes, for sure. We're getting better and better and better. As a president and CEO, Mr. Bill, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, short term, we're in a country where we don't know what's going on half the time when it comes to hiring and everything else right now. And so, our goal is to get through what we've been through this past year in particular. I think with changes that are taking place with our interest rates, and we got to get through this tariff stuff, and then of course this H-1B thing definitely rattled, I think, a few people, but they've calmed today. They calmed down a little bit. Uh, so short term, it's really to get back on the hiring. Going into the fourth quarter in particular, we really are looking for an increase. We did not expect the last 9 months of this year to be so questionable. That was not the plan at all. It's been very up and down. And so the short term is that we go into this next quarter and we build on it so that next year, all the indicators are that 2026 will be a much better year for us. And then the long term play for us, we used to always think about 5 years, 10 years out. AI's changed all that. AI has made it where, technology in any business was every 12 to 18 months they would change or you would upgrade. Now it's like every 12 to 18 days. I mean, we look at it and we're just trying to stay on top of it. And so we're just looking at what can we do today to be different than what we did yesterday, and then look at the technology uh, and embrace it, but also realize it's a shiny squirrel, and until it calms down a little bit, we have to just really take it day by day. I go back and I look at 45 years ago when my father brought home our first microwave oven and told us that we wouldn't have cooks and chefs anymore in restaurants. And 45 years later, we still have them now. Denny's and some other restaurants have a lot more microwaves, I'm sure, but we still have to have people that cook. And so it's the same thing with AI. We're going to go through changes where jobs will go away and things will change, but we'll adapt. We'll figure out what's there. And then we can start looking at things. But I just think the 5 and 10 year plans, those are going to be dreams. Reality is we're going to start looking at things on 6 month, 12 month, and that 12 months is going to be long term. That it's going to change when we talk about time.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Bill, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Well, I'll tell you, take a chance. I don't. I think there are too few people anymore jumping out there to start something, to follow a dream. I'm proud. Our daughter, the one with the car and the 5 year warranty, she's actually starting her own company, and so I think the entrepreneurial spirit in this world, we need to go back to that. We need to go back to a lot of that opportunity, people to take chances, to follow your dreams, to embrace it, take a chance. And because there's a lot to be said about taking a chance. And when you're passionate about something, you'll be successful.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for that advice, Mr. Bill. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Well, I'll tell you what, we have a book out called The American Entrepreneur. You can find it on Amazon. It's a book that we're only in the book for one chapter, but there are about 20 other companies that were involved in that book as well. And it's just a really incredible discussion and dream and talk about the entrepreneurial piece and what that's all about.
Yes, and thank you for that recommended book. And please do come over on my Book 101 review and let's talk about it. I'm gonna invite you, Mr. Bill. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. My book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season. And my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season. And my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love letters in the third season and Movie 101 review, Music 101 and fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its fifth season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. B, looking ahead, how do you see the 5-year warranty evolving as a both client needs and industry standards continue to change?
Well, I hope that it just continues to expand, that we come up with new ideas to add, additional options to our clients, because that's something that our industry lacks, options. And so that is something that even over the last 2 years, we've taken that and it's evolving. And so I think it'll evolve into something that will become a standard. We hear more and more companies talking about longer term warranties, which is great. We've actually heard a couple even talk about a 5-year warranty, which I love that. It means they're adapting to it and they're listening. And so over time, people that follow that or want to um, try to mimic it in a way, that's a compliment. And so we take it as a real blessing to us that we came up with an idea and it's being followed today.
So, Mr. Bill, what will be your expectation of your company after 10 years?
Well, I don't know. I hope I'm still around, and I hope I'm still recruiting. But I don't know, to tell you the truth. That's a great question. I hope we're still here. I hope that we have figured out how to live in the world of AI and in the new microwave. And so I think it'll be something that we continue to move forward. We've had a lot of obstacles over 21 years. Everything from the Great Recession to an oil and gas bust to obviously COVID, hurricanes, natural disaster. I mean, we've had everything you could throw at us, and so I say bring it on, and we'll take it on. But the unknown that's out there for us, it'll be based on what our client need is and the calling that we have to satisfy and take care of our clients. And like I said in the beginning, we placing people one at a time, treating with that respect, and not forgetting, the human piece of what we do every single day.
Mr. Bill Kasko, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Hoping for more and more empowering legacy to come. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Well, obviously, we would love for them to follow us. The best place is on LinkedIn. Go look us up on LinkedIn. Follow us there. We put everything on there, the communications, articles, posts, things like that. Obviously, our website, frontlinesourcegroup.com, is a great place to find that information. And then we're big into charities. And so we promote our charity fundraiser where we give back to individuals and the charities that you care about. So check that out as well.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Bill Casco because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Bill, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it very much.
More to come, people. See you soon.